The smallest key in our house terrified me more than death. It hung on my husband's keychain for 46 years, worn smooth from his fingers, yet I never once saw it unlock anything except the narrow drawer in the old oak desk he kept in the corner of our bedroom. Every Sunday afternoon he would sit there for 10 or 15 minutes, turn the key, open the drawer just enough to slip something inside, then lock it again before I could glimpse its contents. By the time I was 78 years old, I had convinced myself that whatever was inside that drawer mattered more to him than I did. If you stay with me, I'll tell you why I spent nearly half a century jealous of a locked drawer, and how opening it after my husband's funeral became the greatest shame of my life. My name is Margaret, and I was married to Thomas for 46 years, 3 months, and 11 days. I know the exact number because I counted them after he was gone. People always called us the perfect couple. We attended every church picnic together. We held hands at weddings. We never argued in public. We raised 2 sons who became decent men, paid our bills on time, and celebrated every anniversary with the same little Italian restaurant. From the outside, we looked like a marriage everyone wanted. Inside our home, there was one thing neither of us ever spoke about. That locked drawer. The first time I noticed it, we had been married less than a year. Thomas came home carrying an old oak desk he had bought from a retired schoolteacher. "It's beautiful," I said, running my fingers over the polished wood. "It'll last longer than we will," he smiled. As he arranged the drawers, I noticed the smallest one had a tiny brass lock. He quietly slipped the key onto his keyring. "What goes in there?" "Oh, just a few personal things." He smiled warmly. "Nothing more." Most wives would have forgotten about it. I didn't. Every Sunday after church, he opened it. Every Christmas Eve. Every anniversary. Sometimes on rainy afternoons. Never for long. Always alone. I never asked twice. But I never stopped wondering. The imagination is a dangerous thing when it has no facts to feed on. By our 10th anniversary, I was certain the drawer contained letters from another woman. By our 20th, I imagined old photographs. By our 30th, I convinced myself he had loved someone before me and had simply settled for the safer choice. He never gave me a real reason to believe any of that. He came home every evening. Never forgot my birthday. Never raised his voice. Never hid where he had been. Yet every time he locked that drawer, another tiny crack formed inside my trust. I never accused him. Instead, I punished both of us in quieter ways. When he suggested taking a vacation, I said we couldn't afford it. When he reached for my hand while watching television, sometimes I pretended not to notice. When he told me I looked beautiful, I smiled politely instead of believing him. Suspicion doesn't always explode. Sometimes it leaks into a marriage one drop at a time. Years passed. Our sons grew up. Grandchildren filled the house with noise every Thanksgiving. Thomas retired at 67. I retired 2 years later. Life slowed down. The drawer remained locked. One autumn afternoon, I finally gathered enough courage. "Tom." He looked up from his newspaper. "Yes?" "What is in that drawer?" He folded the paper carefully. "One day you'll know." "Why not today?" He reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Because today isn't the right day." I should have pressed him. Instead, I spent another decade inventing answers that hurt far more than the truth ever could. At 81, Thomas became ill. It started with a cough. Then fatigue. Then doctor's appointments that lasted longer each week. The diagnosis came quietly. Pancreatic cancer. 4 months. He accepted it with surprising peace. I did not. One evening, while helping him into bed, I noticed the key still hanging from his ring. I almost asked again. Almost. Instead, I tucked the blanket around his shoulders. He smiled. I've had a good life. I wanted to tell him about the drawer. About the years I had wasted fearing it. But the words stayed trapped behind my teeth. 3 weeks later, he was gone. After the funeral, the house became unbearably silent. His slippers still waited beside the bed. His reading glasses rested on the nightstand. His favorite coffee mug remained beside the sink because I couldn't bring myself to wash it. On the 5th evening, I sat in front of the oak desk. The key lay in a small dish beside his wallet. For 46 years, I had imagined this moment. My hands shook so badly I dropped the key twice. When the lock finally clicked open, I held my breath. Inside wasn't another woman's photograph. There weren't love letters. No hidden bank account. No secret documents. Only dozens of neatly stacked envelopes. Every one of them had my name written on the front. Margaret. The earliest envelope was dated 6 months after our wedding. The latest had been written just 2 weeks before he died. There were hundreds. I opened the first. March 18, 1974. Today you cried because you burned our first roast dinner. You apologized 3 times. I didn't tell you this at the table because you were embarrassed. It was the happiest meal I've ever eaten. Another letter. September 2nd, 1981. Today you sold your mother's necklace so we could keep the boys in school after I lost my job. You think I didn't notice. I noticed. Another. December 24th, 1997. You fell asleep wrapping presents after midnight. I watched you for 20 minutes because I've never seen anyone look so beautiful while exhausted. I kept opening them. Every birthday. Every anniversary. Every ordinary Tuesday. Every letter captured one small moment I had already forgotten. Then I found another bundle. They weren't letters. They were cards. Mother's Day cards. Birthday cards. Valentine's cards. Every one addressed to me. None of them given. The final envelope rested beneath them all. It was marked. Open after I'm gone. I unfolded the paper through tears. My dearest Margaret. If you're reading this, then you've finally opened the drawer. You probably spent years wondering why I kept it locked. The truth is much simpler than whatever you imagined. When we were newly married, I noticed how quickly you doubted yourself. You forgot compliments almost immediately. But you remembered every criticism for years. So I began writing down the things I loved about you. I locked the drawer because I wanted these words to survive us both. One day, when I could no longer remind you myself, I hoped the letters would. Then I reached the final paragraph. There is one regret I carry. I should have told you these things out loud more often. Please don't spend the years you have left wondering whether you were enough. You were the greatest blessing of my life. I couldn't finish reading. The room disappeared behind my tears. For 46 years I had been jealous of my own love story. All those Sundays when I imagined another woman, Thomas had simply been adding another page to the story of us. I had allowed one unanswered question to become the narrator of our marriage. Now, every Sunday afternoon, I unlock that same drawer. Not because there are secrets inside. Because there aren't. There are only reminders. We think trust is believing someone has nothing to hide. I've learned trust is refusing to let your imagination write a story before the truth has a chance. If someone you love is still sitting across the breakfast table, ask the difficult question today. Don't spend 46 years answering it yourself. The little brass key still hangs beside my own house keys. Its edges are worn smooth now. Not from locking away secrets, but from opening them too late. The smallest key in our house terrified me more than death. It hung on my husband's keychain for 46 years, worn smooth from his fingers, yet I never once